And welcome to the Krueg Show, everybody. Larry Krueger-Dan Coccimilgio with you after Giants baseball. And, man, this was not your typical Giants game. Wow. This was not your typical Giants game. Giants jumped on top early, and it was all Giants tonight as they take the Phillies apart piece by piece. And we're getting ready to get your thoughts and get a little chat rolling and talk a little Giants baseball. We'll do that on a Friday night. But the Giants get the big win. 13-1 was the final as the Giants take the Phillies apart. 4-run first, 3-run second, 4-run third, 1 run in the fifth, another run in the eighth. Giants only get 11 hits, but they put together 13 runs and wind up winning this one 13-1. All Giants. Alex Cobb, 7 innings, 3 hits, struck out 7 and walked only 1. So we get it rolling on a Friday night. But before we do, we've got our brand new commercial, our brand new sponsor on the show, the Krueg Show, brought to you by MyBookie. And I got a nice little video here, Danny. Look at that. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, isn't that a good looking thing? And then we've got the MyBookie across the face there. But we really want to tell people that winning season, Danny, has officially returned. And with the National Football League preseason in the books and the NFL regular season around the corner, there are plenty of opportunities to win at MyBookie.com. Whether you're a seasoned bettor or a first timer, MyBookie.com gets you the most for your money with a double deposit bonus up to $1,000. So to claim your bonus, sign up and use the promo code, my promo code, Larry K, on your first deposit, and you automatically and instantly double your money with MyBookie.com. So what do I mean? It's really simple. If you do a $250 deposit, that puts $500 in your account, and you can use the funds to bet on as many individual games, contests, or props as you want. It's beautiful. But you can bet on team win totals. You can predict the Super Bowl winner or use the MyBookie prop builder to give yourself the edge that you need to secure the bag, as they say. So bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.com. Danny, do you have any wagers going tonight on the Giants and the Phils?
No, I didn't get anything in on the Giants tonight. I was going to do it, but actually I didn't like the first inning for some reason. I always bet the first inning no score, and something told me that there would be a score tonight, and I wasn't sure, so I just said, skip it. Good thing I didn't, because the Giants actually come up with 4 runs in the bottom of the first. Shocking. I mean, that's more runs in the first inning practically than they've scored in several games combined recently, but they put up 11 in the first 3 innings. I'm just like, what the heck is that? But
Seriously,
I did
you should have bet the over.
I did
at MyBookie.com. You should have bet the over.
Got a little action in, won a little bit on the Dodger Padres, so that was cool.
Did you win?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. So once again, go to MyBookie.com and use the promo code Larry K, and they will double your deposit, and away you go. And you can bet anything you like. So MyBookie.com, a brand new sponsor of the Krueg Show. We thank them for joining us and being a big part of us. And once again, here we go. Look at that. The MyBookie.com video. Very nice little advertisement page there. So anyway, thank you to MyBookie.com. Once again, MyBookie.com, promo code Larry K. If you are a regular on the show, get on MyBookie.com and make some wagers. I'm doing it. Danny's doing it. Rye's doing it. We're all getting involved with MyBookie.com. All right. Let's get right to it. I mean, this was, I don't know what you want to say about tonight's game other than this isn't what we've seen all year. I mean, the Giants haven't hit like this all year. Once again, I mean, Kapler is just so pig-headed. It's like, Lamont Wade Jr. hasn't been able to hit all year. He leads them off again, hitting 183 with a 280 on base percentage after tonight's 2 hits. And just like they just refuse to mix it up. They just refuse to play any young people. Yaz A couple hits tonight, but he's hitting 206. And I mean, to me, the shocking thing is Farhan, has watched Yaz hit under 215 now in back-to-back years. He's going on his age 34 season. He literally had one surprise year coming out of the Orioles AAA, where he had been a career minor leaguer.
And that was a 60-game season, really, if you think about it. I mean,
right. And now they've got Farhan saying, yeah, we're probably going to bring Yaz back. And, it's like, what? I don't understand that at all. And it's like, how can you say that you want to have everyday people and then keep putting guys like Wade and Yaz, guys who are just, Wade and Yaz and Slater and Peterson, and like, you look at the Giants outfield right now, they're all platoon guys. There's not anybody really. Luis Gonzalez is probably the closest you'd get to an everyday guy.
You know what, Larry? I think Wade
and they just keep going with it. They insist on doing the same thing in the future. It's like, is Farhan not going to learn? Is Gabe not going to learn? It's like, you can't just keep running these guys out there. I mean, they win tonight going away, but Yaz is not a everyday outfielder. Wade's not an everyday outfielder. When are they going to figure that out?
I don't know. Guys like Wade and Yaz, to me, if you want to have everyday players, there's only so many roster spots on the 26-man roster. So if you fill up with Wade and Yaz, and I know I like Jock, and he's not really an everyday player. So you got 3 outfielders that are not everyday players. You only got room for a couple more. So in my opinion, Yaz and Wade are guys that should be probably in the minors to get called up when you need somebody's injured. You need somebody for a week or two. They're not guys that are full season guys. They've proven that, Yaz has kind of proven that 2 years in a row. He's getting older. You'd think you would learn from the 22 roster, this current roster of Belt and Crawford digressing, and Longoria getting older. And although he's done pretty well, decently when he's in there, he's only in there at a week or two at a time, and he's hurt again. So with these guys getting older, why do you want to keep re-signing 33, 34-year-old guys that are declining? It just makes no sense. And then the other thing that made no sense to me is you make a trade for Brinson, and he's your fastest guy, your most athletic guy now you have on the roster, and you got 31, 32 games left, and you're out of the race, and you don't even start him. Why wouldn't you want to see this guy, what he can do for the next 30 games? Play him every inning.
They act like they're either in some race that we're unaware of, or
they're in a race with Arizona
protecting some lead, or there's some advantage to going with the old guys. It's September 2nd. You're 29 and a half games out of first place. You're only like 5 or 6 games out of last place.
Right.
It hasn't gone well. And you think you're going to sit there and run out the same group, and it's going to, it's just a bizarre, this is just such a frustrating year to be a Giants fan, because last year we got teased with the 107 and look how close the Giants are to competing. And then you realize it's just nothing. It's just absolutely nothing. It's a bunch of veterans going nowhere. 3 years from now, which of these guys in 3 years, of all the guys who played tonight for the Giants, who's going to be here? Is Wade going to be here in 3 years? No. Yaz? No. Wilmer? No. Slater? No. Jock? No. Lou Brinson? Maybe. Crawford? No. Villar? Maybe. Longoria? No. J.D. Davis? Maybe. Estrada? Maybe. Luis Gonzalez? Maybe. Knapp is not even worth discussing. Right. Cobb? Possibly. Hyro? No.
Years. Cobb, I don't think will be here in 3 years because he's got
you're talking about a couple of guys that might be here, and none of them are like foundation pieces. So,
no.
What are you doing? I don't get it.
I don't get it either.
It's been a terrible year. It's been a total snooze. Farhan has created this team that's so goddamn boring. Yeah. That it's just nobody wants to go. I'll tell you tonight this game was on Apple Plus or whatever, and I had it going on the computer. But then, I was watching De La Salle and Sarah, and it's now 21-21.
Wow.
It was 7-0 Sarah. Then it was 21-7 De La Salle. It's now 21-21 tie. The game is being played literally about 500 yards from where I'm broadcasting from right now. And it's being carried on ESPNU, I think.
Oh, really?
But I don't have ESPNU in my office here. So if anybody knows how Sarah,
I might have to turn that on and look and take a look at that. Let me see.
If I can, Sarah De La Salle finishes. I'm eager to see. I'm taping it. I'm taping it because I want to see.
I won't tell you what's going on then. If you want.
No, you can tell me. I don't care.
Let me get it on here. I'll step away for a sec.
Yeah, I mean, if you can find it, that would be great. But I just think that, I'm looking at this Giants team and I'm thinking to myself, okay, what do I want to see the rest of the way? As Danny said, I want to see Lewis Brinson. I mean, is he, it wasn't that long ago that Lewis Brinson was a top 25 prospect. So you make a trade, you get him from the Astros, play him. Tonight they finally played him off the bench. He had 2 at-bats and he got a hit. But you acquired the guy and you're trying to get a look-see at him in the final stretch of the year. Play him. Give him 4 at-bats. Put him out there. I think it was Pavlovich or one of the Giant beat writers who was like, maybe it was Emmerman, who was like, hey, I'm really eager to see Lou Brinson play tonight. And it's like, yeah. You got a guy who's athletic, who's got some power, who's got some speed, who once upon a time was somebody. You finally get him in a trade and you don't play him. I mean, he played tonight barely, but I mean, you're still marching out the Wade, Yaz, Flores thing. It just kind of reeks of like, a bunch of guys who are fearing for their job as far as, Kapler. And it's like, I've got to try to go for every possible win. And instead of really doing what's best for the long-term good of this team, which is find out what you got. You gotta find out what you got. Play some younger players, DFA some of these donkeys.
Yes.
I mean, my God, what the hell are you doing? What's Lamont Wade giving you? I mean, the idea that you're going to bring him back? Why? He's a career minor leaguer who's hitting 183. Yaz is headed to age 34. You've seen back-to-back seasons under 215.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, what do you need to see? I like Wilmer Flores, but I mean, come on. Yeah. Wilmer Flores is on most teams is just a guy. On this team, it's like, Wilmer Flores is hitting third. Wilmer Flores is hitting third for the Giants. Yeah. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know. Wilmer Flores is your top 3 hitters in the lineup. Their top 3 hitters were Schwarber, Reese Hoskins, and was it Bohm? The Giants' top 3 hitters are Wade, Yaz, and Flores. Those are your top 3 hitters.
Yeah, Phillies.
And that's where this team's got to get up off the ground and stop and actually start to think about, we're charging $60 to park. We might as well have somebody who's decent to watch. Instead, it's just anything. Just anything will do. And it's like, it's absolutely baffling. It's highway thievery for them to charge what they charge for food, for parking, for tickets, for this level product. And, we were talking about this with Willard, and Willard was bringing it up like, it seems a little too fast for the Giants, who won 107 last year, to realistically be talking about changing out the manager or the general manager. And he asked me about it today on the show as I was sitting in for Dibs on 95.7 The Game. And my thought is I'm fine with total regime change here. But even though I would probably blame Farhan more for this year as far as how bad the team is, he's the architect, so I got to blame him. But I think I would rather see Farhan come back, because I really think that Gabe's Gabe, I really think, has lost the clubhouse.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no
I don't
doubt
think they're playing for him anymore, and I don't think they're going to play for him anymore.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that would be my concern. I would rather. I think I would get rid of Gabe, even though if you said to me who's more responsible for this year going south, it's Farhan. It's Farhan for sure, because Farhan is the architect of this team. Farhan,
right.
Let Posey go, let Bryant go, let Solano go, replace him with nobody, made all these minor league additions, talked big before. Sarah won 24-21. Only the second time. How about this?
Wow.
Jason Neal, Sarah beats De La Salle 24-21. Second time De La Salle has lost to a NorCal team since the mid-90s. So Pat Walsh finally defeats his old high school. Good for the WCAL. I'm not a big Sarah fan, but good for the WCAL. Nick Martinez says, let's go, Sarah. I watched the first half of that game and a good portion of the second half. De La Salle's quarterback is this tall, super skinny, obviously really talented athlete. But, man, I mean, that kid is just so raw. I mean, it was like, and there were turnovers in this game. Sarah won this game 24-21, and it was no accident. I mean, I think Sarah might have had 3 turnovers in the red zone. I mean, that game could have been worse than it was. So, way to go, WCAL. Way to go, Sarah Padres. Way to get it done in Concord against the big bad De La Salle Spartans. So, yeah. Good high school football on a Friday night. It's very cool. Also, I think congrats to Northgate, my kid's school. I believe they beat Ukiah on the road in Ukiah. And I don't know, does anybody have a final on my St. Ignatius Wildcats? I know they were playing tonight as well. So if anybody's got a score on my St. Ignatius Wildcats, go Cats, get them Cats, go get them Cats. Feel free to throw it in the chat. We'll read it. But Danny, if I say to you, what's your preference for 2023? You want to run it back as is, Farhan and Gabe, or do you want complete regime change? Goodbye Farhan, goodbye Gabe. Or do you want what I would advocate, which is kind of half reach our SI lost 17-7. Oh, that sucks. Hey, Jason, do you know who they lost to? I saw they were playing, but I didn't see who they played. Oh, look at this. Spencer Stewart. Cherries lost 17-7. You hate us because you ain't us. Remember that. But I mean, I would advocate for one more year of Farhan and goodbye to Gabe, because I think Gabe went political. Yeah. I think Gabe's the reason that the team's so tight. I think Gabe. I think the guys have tuned out Gabe. I think he's. You
saw it the other night when Crawford got thrown out. He comes out. I mean, a player's manager would have come out and got tossed too. I mean, your season's over. You should have gotten the umpire's face and got yourself thrown out. Instead, you guide Crawford off the field like you're taking a teenager off the field. You're taking your number one veteran, 2-time world champion, Gold Glove shortstop, who finished 4th, 5th in the league in MVP voting last year, and he gets tossed, and you just go out there and you don't even throw a tizzy fit. I mean,
Matt R says it. He says Gabe went political. He totally did. Yeah. Kerr made some strong statement about Uvalde, and then suddenly Gabe came out and was like, I'm not gonna stand for the anthem until police brutality comes to an end. And it's just stupid. I mean, it's just a stupid thing because he didn't follow through with it. Yeah. And it's like, and what are you really talking about? You know, I mean, it's just. And like, who the hell are you? And why do we care about your political statements? Manage the goddamn team. Yeah, seriously, manage the team or quit. Right. I mean, enough of your statements and you're this and you're that. And you know what? And everybody in that room, Gabe, doesn't agree with you. You know what I mean? So it's like, and you're not going to have a whole room of guys from all corners of wherever to agree with you. Some are going to agree, some aren't. And this whole you agree with me or there's the door. I mean, it has that kind of feel. I don't like how tight he is. To me, just Kapler is, you look at his record. You take away last year and he's like 11 games under 500 for his career.
Exactly.
I think tonight with the win, 10 games under 500.
Here's what I would do. You asked me what I would do, full regime change or just one or the other. I'm for all full regime change, and here's why. Farhan, to me, and I tweeted about this today, he brought in Gabe against a lot of people's outcry of hiring Gabe. People wanted Wotus. People wanted an experienced manager. People didn't want Gabe. It was a very kind of awkward press conference when he was hired 3 years ago. Gabe, to me, definitely has got to go. Lost the clubhouse. But Farhan hung his hat on that. And here's the other thing why I don't think getting rid of Gabe and putting someone else in with Farhan in control is because Farhan, I think, is calling the shots. I think Farhan and his squad of analytics is driving the decisions. Maybe if you get a different personality in there, I mean, Gabe's just kind of a guy that is difficult to get along with. But I would like to get a general manager in here who is experienced at getting free agents and who can have a solid guy running the minor leagues that you can develop like the Dodgers. I mean, you look at the Baltimore Orioles. What are they doing? I mean, gosh, Adley Rutschman, and then the kid they just brought up, Gunnar
Henderson or whatever,
hits a home run in his debut. He was a second-round draft pick, Larry, in the same draft of Hunter Bishop and Will Wilson. And the Giants also selected Logan Wyatt out of Louisville that year, their second-round pick. He's not even anywhere in their top 30 prospect. What's going on?
But the other thing I just cannot get, I can't stand this whole do you realize how much better the farm system is now? Show me the results. I'm so tired of hearing about, there's a lot of guys. Show me the results. I want to see the results. Nothing more except the results. And when I say that, I mean, don't tell me about A-ball guys. Don't tell me about lists. Don't tell me about perceptions. Don't tell me about rankings. Show me the GD players. I'm sick of rankings. I'm sick of A-ball stuff. That's anecdotal crap. That none of those guys ever make it. Yeah. I want to see guys actually. I'm not going to talk about the great things you're doing in the farm system until I actually see guys promoted to the big leagues who get results. Until then, shut the hell up. I don't want to hear about your success in the minor leagues. Your success in the minor leagues means nothing. Absolutely nothing. Keith Law's rankings mean nothing. Baseball America's rankings mean nothing. How many guys you have in the Cal League or in high A who are doing it means nothing.
Yeah, Louis Brinson
prospects at the major league level. I don't want to hear about rankings. I want you to show me the guys who graduate, make it to the majors, and succeed. Yep. You know what I mean? There's nothing else about it. There's no other, I got into this thing with Willard today. Well, everybody knows their farm system's a lot deeper than what? Stop. I need to see the players. It needs to happen. We can't tout a farm system that has produced 0 players. Do you realize that Farhan's in the 4th year of this rebuild? He has never drafted and developed and promoted to the majors a single GD player, not one. So yeah. I don't want to hear about the improvements in the minor leagues. Show me results.
Exactly.
I mean, Come on. I don't care about anything else. Nothing else matters except for results, and we're not seeing any results.
Yeah, so, I did this the other night, and I mentioned guys from the 2019 draft. Rutschman, Orioles went first. He's in the majors. Witt in the majors. Andrew Vaughn with the White Sox made a trip to the major. No, he's still with them. Yeah, it's Vaughn. It's the other kid with Torkelson the next year for Detroit. I get those. J.J. Bleday. He's up now. Riley Green, been up all year with Detroit. C.J. Abrams, who was in the trade that went to Washington. They've called him up. Shea Langeliers is in AAA, ready to make the move to the majors. Then Hunter Bishop, sitting down at A-ball. Alex Manoah, pitcher for the Blue Jays, he's made it up. Brett Beatty made it up. Bryson Stott, Phillies, made it up. Will Wilson, who Farhan traded for.
It's not even Hunter Bishop's not just in A-ball. He's hitting 230 in A-ball.
And Will Wilson's in AA. Now Corbin Carroll, 16.
Patrick Bailey, where's he?
Yeah. You look at these guys, and then Logan Wyatt, Larry, 2019 second-round draft pick, is in San Jose still. What is going on?
And he played college ball.
Yes. How do you not make it? I mean, I just read a list of 10 guys that are in the majors in that same draft, and the Giants have nobody above AA. They're not even knocking on the door.
And then
when
they make a creative trade and they took on Zach Cozart's money to get Will Wilson. Will Wilson hasn't done anything.
No.
They're not. Then these guys they're not getting results. Now, we can sit there and say, well, the previous regime, bang on the previous regime all you want. Panda, Belt, Posey, Crawford, Bumgarner, Lincecum, Kane. These guys were all Giants farmhands, drafted, developed, and promoted to the big leagues by Brian Sabean.
Joe Panic.
Where's their guys? It's year 4.
I know it's unbelievable. This is why 4. I say I'm ready to get
it's not like we're 1 year away. They're not 1 year away.
No, they're not. And I don't think Farhan. Here's why I don't trust Farhan, because I listen to what he says, and then I fall for it, and then he says the opposite a week later. He said a week before the trade deadline that they had the players to get a superstar. That's what he said. He said, we have in our organization to make a trade for a superstar. And then it comes out a week after the trade deadline, or a week ago, he says, we were really never in it. When he talked to Kawakami, we were never really in the Soto. And the reason is because our guys weren't producing.
Well, then why did you do an interview and say, why did you create expectations?
Exactly.
I mean, he did it twice this year. I mean, it's awful.
Times.
It's awful general managing. He
doesn't have the experience.
It's under-promising. It's over-promising and under-delivering, which is exactly the opposite.
I'm ready to cut ties with him. I'm just ready to move on. Get an experienced GM. You're the San Francisco Giants. You're not the Kansas City Royals playing in an obscure low market. You're the San Francisco Giants. You have 8 world titles as an organization, more than the Dodgers, one more than the Dodgers. Okay. You are one of the top 5 teams when it comes to baseball historically. You should be in this playoff hunt, not trailing the Milwaukee Brewers and the San Diego Padres. And, it's just getting old.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Stephen Dre says, we have the money too. You don't waste it on free agents. You go get the best scouts and development staff and coaches you can get, and you draft and develop the best of the best. Dodgers making it look easy. Then go do it. Do it. I have no problem if they don't want to go spend on free agents, but my God, I mean, you forget the Dodgers, forget the Padres. You can't hang with the Diamondbacks. If this season had 6 weeks left in it, you'd probably finish dead last. You're sinking like a stone. You got an old, eroding product. You've got an overpriced ballpark. You got a manager that likes to, thinks he's Wolf Blitzer, and you're sitting there. You got a general manager who's got a great laugh and is just snowballing everybody with just nothingness. There's nothing there. Farhan Zaidi's the cotton candy of general managers. Pour a little water on him and it just evaporates. He has no big trades. He has no big signings. He has no free agents of note. He has no prospects of note. I mean, my God, Where
You know
is
when he
this thing
lost me,
going?
Larry? He lost me at the trade deadline when he did nothing but bring in J.D. Davis. And here's where he lost me again, was yesterday, saying that he wants to bring Yaz back. That's what he's thinking? That Yaz is a part of this future? That should tell you right there he's not cut out to be the general manager. You just got to move on because you're going to have another year of this. And
why do you want
further behind.
Yaz back? Did anybody follow up with what the hell? He's a 34-year-old career minor leaguer who's hit under 215 2 years in a row. Yeah. Why in the hell would you bring him back? And people are like, oh, you don't understand. He's cost controlled. He's still going to cost you $3 to $4 million. Is that worth $3 to $4 million? An outfielder who's mediocre in every phase of the game.
So are we going to keep La Stella and Longoria because they've got another year under contract too? We don't want to blow the money. We don't want to spend
those guys. Retire those guys.
Yeah, we don't want to spend the $11.5 million and blow that away, and then we don't want to spend the $5 million to buy out Longoria. So. Is that what we're about? That's why we're going to keep Yaz? I mean, where's the
how about Romo? Farhan is smart. In Farhan, we trust. Trust in last place, Romo.
I think it's a joke.
Wow.
I know Romo. That's a joke.
I mean, that's just bad. Just bad. Babe Rock says, go get him, Larry. Well, I wish I wasn't the only person. Literally, Danny and I are like the only people saying the emperor has no clothes. Everybody else is like just swallowing this. And $60 to park. Here it is. My God. If you really are entertained by this product, man, you got to seriously question. You got to question yourself. I mean, who's out there? It's like friends and family.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting old, and it's got to change.
Romo says it's a joke, Larry. Don't hit me. All right. Sorry, Romo. Sorry. My goodness. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. They have no core. I mean, it's like I've been a Giants fan since 1975. In the mid 70s, there were some lean years, but from 77 on, I was 7 years old in 1977. From 77 on, every single year of Giants baseball, they've had a dude: Willie McCovey, Jack Clark, Chili Davis, Jeffrey Leonard, Matt Williams, Will Clark, Barry Bonds, Buster Posey. They have had a guy every single year dating back to 1977. Here we are in the fourth year of this regime, and they don't have a single goddamn guy that's worth watching. There's not a single player on this team that would make me I literally was curious tonight to watch the game because of Lewis freaking Brinson, who's a failed prospect, and who's probably 27. And it's like, you know what? Why am I excited by Lewis Brinson? Because I have nothing else.
Right.
I don't know what to say. About it.
People
just swallow it up. People swallow it up like Farhan and Gabe are just awesome. Well, don't forget, they do realize these guys won the manager of the year, I also realize the team that they've put together this year is boring as shit. Yeah. And they have no farm system and no hope for the future. And they're asking people like Danny to commit to season tickets for 2023. For what? For what? Come on, man.
It's unbelievable because if you look at what they're putting out on the field, and then you say, and these media guys say, bring back Farhan again. He deserves another year because they keep pointing to 107.
Well, the media people are the worst people to ask. Why? They're not invested. Right. Danny's invested. If the media people were invested 10% of the money that Danny's invested, they would be crying bloody murder about how boring and how crappy this regime is and how it's going nowhere and it's wasting their cash. But guess what? We all have big opinions and we don't pay jack. None of us do. We park for free. We eat for free. We're sitting there. We're not part of this thing. We don't feel the pain that the fans feel because we're not invested. We're not paying $60 to park. We're parking for free. We're not paying huge money for ballpark food. We're eating for free. We're not paying ridiculous prices for tickets. We're going for free. We're the wrong people to ask about the product and where it's going and how serious the problems really are. We don't care because we can't relate, because we don't have a seat at the table, because we aren't invested. So all these big mouth media people who are just like, you know what? I mean, I think we ought to keep him around. Well, why? Because he comes on my podcast. Because, he smiles at me at the Fan Fest. Go invest $5 a game in these games and then come back and tell me that you want to do it again next year before you start telling me that they should stick it out another year. Guys like Danny, how much money did you pay this year for Giants tickets?
$12,000 for 2 tickets. So if you divide
$12,000.
Divide that by
if the average media
81.
person paid $6,000, they would be like outraged. But because they don't pay anything, they don't care. And we say, well, why are you outraged, Krug? Because I'm a native San Franciscan. This is my team. I didn't live in Tulsa last year, and I'm not going to live in Florida in 3 years. This is my team. This is the team I root for. That's why I'm pissed. Because realistically, when you look around, the people that are saying, you know what, stay the course, they're not invested. Right. They're not paying for it.
This is why I'm not renewing, because how many games this year have I got stuck holding my tickets because nobody wants to buy them?
Nobody wants them. You can't unload them.
So I'm losing money, and I got to watch a terrible product, and then I'm supposed to trust this guy who says, we have a plan for 23, when all he does is bring up all these no names. He makes all these trades for guys that didn't make it with another team. I mean, like he's going to strike lightning in a bottle. I mean, this is how about the guy that
there's no indicators. There's no indicators that tell you that it's going to be better in 23 than it was in 22. Zero. There's not one prospect that you can point to. There's not one anything. The general manager just said he wants to bring back Yaz.
Exactly. And this is why I don't understand. This is why I personally, what scares me the most right now is that they're going to beat the Phillies. If they beat the Phillies Saturday and Sunday, they'll be 7.5 behind Philadelphia for the last spot, and then they'll start playing all these guys through the year, and they won't play the young guys because they think they're in it. Somehow they think, oh, we're still in it. They just need to San Diego.
They are in it. They're in a state of delusion.
Exactly. You know what they're in? They're in a race for last place.
Right.
I mean, Arizona is
they're not going to finish in front of Arizona.
No, they're not. And I said that on the show a month ago. I said Arizona will when I put a fork in them a few weeks back, I said Arizona is going to catch them, and they're going to finish ahead of them, because I can see Arizona. There's excitement going on with Arizona right now. They're in 4th place, or 3rd place now, ahead of the Giants, but they are coming up. Why is there excitement happening in Arizona? Because they've got Rojas, they've got Jake McCarthy, they got Corbin Carroll they just brought up.
They've got young athletic guys, Dalton Varsho.
All over the diamond, Larry. And they're young and they're fast and they're playing exciting, and then they're getting pitching that's starting to come around. And, the crowd's not there, but there's excitement within the clubhouse. You could see these guys are excited to come to the ballpark. What's the exact opposite with Gabe Kapler's team. They don't want to be there. You could see it. There's no excitement. Tonight they had a little fun because they, got some hits and they were joking around. But, they're kind of joking around now. I think the pressure's off. I think they know the season's over and they're playing looser. I think that's why they won big tonight. They're playing loose now because there's nothing to play for other than just play out the season.
Yeah. My whole thing would be, look, if my house burned to the ground and I had to, collect some insurance money and build it back, I would find somebody who's built a house before. I wouldn't go hire somebody who's never built a house before. I got a hammer and a bunch of nails. Have you ever built a house? No. All right, get in there. Let's try it. Let's give it a go. That's what they did with Farhan. They needed their house rebuilt, and he's never rebuilt a house ever.
What's he done? He was assistant GM he was the GM at the Dodgers, but just like Scott Harris is technically the GM of the Giants, we all know Andrew Friedman runs the Dodgers, and Farhan was just the GM, and Farhan runs the Giants, and Scott Harris is GM in name only. What does Scott Harris really do? Do we know? I mean, does he have
canvases the league? Probably. I mean,
does he have the authority to make a trade?
Farhan, you're right. Farhan, you're right.
Yeah.
So make a couple phone calls.
He can't make a trade without Farhan.
No way.
And that's the same thing with LA.
Nobody in this organization can scratch an itch without Farhan's okay.
Right.
But he has no experience doing it.
Exactly.
And it's like, come on, Larry Bear. You had an opportunity to hire a replacement for Brian Sabian, and you went to a guy who's never done it before. And now we're 4 years in with no prospects coming and a boring as hell baseball team, and the Dodgers are rolling away from you, and the Padres are, and the Diamondbacks are, and you're entrusting this rebuild to a guy who's never done it before. My God, when you went to build the ballpark, you didn't pick a company that never built a ballpark, right? You wanted experience. Why? Because you wanted to make sure it was done right. But for building the team, you just take anybody with a Tandy 5000 and a nice laugh. My God, what has he done?
Did I talk you into letting him starting a whole new regime?
Well, I mean,
I'm ready to move on. I don't see why.
I just can't stand how they're just so sunk with so many resources. The Giants that I grew up with never had these kind of resources. They never had this kind of revenue streams. They never had this kind of long-term security. They never had this level of wealth. At this point, I would think they would have had tremendous momentum. Instead, they've got what? They got an old, boring, terrible team, and they're trying to incentivize people to re-up their season tickets with autographed jerseys. Yeah. Buy a player, get an outfielder, get me somebody that I actually want to see. Instead, it's just a parade of nothingness and more promises of nothingness to come. So I don't know what to say. I'd love to be optimistic. I would love to be optimistic about this team. I just don't see it. Eric Hernandez says the media folks do not want to push any buttons because they're scared of losing team access or benefits. Probably not wrong. Stephen Dre, I feel like you, Larry, and I live in Dodger country. Stephen Dre, every loss I have to get so much shit. Pud Fatty, salty Krueg is the best Krueg. I don't want to be salty, but I mean, my God, I'm so sick. I was at least expecting, okay, they're not going to win this year, but they'll get to September. They'll call up a couple young players and they'll make some statements.
Where is Ramos?
He's hitting 215 in AAA.
He's starting.
Not only can they not draft, they can't develop. They cannot develop anybody.
Let's see what he's got. He supposedly worked with the Giants hitters recently for last week or so when he was on that 3-day thing where he was up. And since then, he's 8 for 25 with a home run or two. So he's starting to, hit the ball better. I just say, let him.
How much worse could he be? How much worse could he be? I mean, that's the bottom line. I don't care what he's hitting in the minor leagues, to be honest. How much worse can he be? Seriously. I mean, what's he going to hit? 047? I mean, what do we care what he hits? Right. We're just trying to unearth something.
Yeah, just see.
Where's he's on Diaz?
He's hurt now. It sounds like he's out for the season. He did an oblique strain.
Of course.
What he probably did, he probably was pressing because he was trying to impress to get up here. You'd think he'd get the call up before trading for Machado or,
how'd that go, by the way? How'd that go? They gave away Kervin Castro and another arm for 4 days of Dixon Machado.
Yeah, exactly. And so they could have brought Diaz up to play shortstop. He's played down there at Sacramento shortstop. He's serviceable enough. Put him out there, put a bat in there that's got some oomph to it. But no, we don't get to see Diaz. And then he's got La Stella going, and then he brings up all these endless other guys, and your best performer at AAA doesn't get the call up. What's going on? It doesn't make sense, Larry.
It's awful. Eddie K's 24 says Krueger ain't salty. He's dead right. I mean, seriously. I mean, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But this thing is boring as hell, not getting better. Mercedes, BMW, Porsche donates $20. The Giants are guilty of being one thing you can never be: boring. I'm apathetic to this team, constructed as is. So instead, I went to the Monster Truck Show in San Jose tonight, dropped $500, and had a blast. Good for you. Good for you.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I just tuned into the Giants here and there, saw a little bit the first few innings. I said, okay, but they're playing good. They're hitting good. They're having fun, but that's it. So
49er says Pavlovich and Tommy T will never put the screws to Farhan. He knows it. They know it. I mean, my God. I mean, everybody's just like in this mode of like, I'm just trying to, squeeze a few more bucks before I, walk into retirement. My God. And also at the bottom line, I don't think anybody really cares. I mean, where's Pavlovich from? Does he even care? I mean, I know he covers the Giants, but is he a Giant fan? Probably not. Not. Yeah. I don't get it. I get a very kind of one tone, like he's not really that invested. I don't know him. I don't really care either way, but that's my sense of it. Tommy's an Angels fan, so I don't think he's really all that fired up either way. It's not that, I want people to scream and yell at these guys. I want to either see progress or I want to see change. I'd love to see, I don't know, a regime that actually had pelts on the wall.
Well,
you
Larry,
know what? We think this GM can rebuild it. Why? Because he rebuilt this team here and that team there. Not, you know what? We think we like this guy rebuilding things. Why? Because he, finished second in his fantasy football league. And, it's
because he's so smart that he's
a smart guy.
And I think that's what's
how smart is he looking right now? They're 6 games out of last place.
Here's what happens in winning organizations, or not winning organizations so much, but teams that have the desire to win. 3 managers were fired in the last year. Jace Tingler lost the Padres clubhouse. They collapsed at the stretch last year. They're right in the hunt with the Giants and Dodgers for a while. And then August hit, just like the Giants, and they completely fell apart, missed the playoffs. What happened? He got fired. Jace Tingler was fired. They brought in Bob Melvin. Where are the Padres today? They're in the playoff position. Philadelphia Phillies fired Joe Girardi this year after a horrible start and losing the clubhouse with all the talent they had. They bring in the bench coach. I can't remember his name, Richardson or whatever his name was, but he's got the Phillies now in playoff position. Toronto Blue Jays barely missed the playoffs last year. On the last day of the season, they actually gave an extension to Charlie. Is it Montoya? Is that how you say it right? The manager? Yeah. He got an extension in April for 2 more years. Team was underperforming. They expect him to be in the playoffs. They fired him. Where are the Blue Jays today? If the season ended, in the playoffs. So you have 3 cases right there. I know Madden with the Angels went on a losing streak, but they've gotten worse because Joe Madden is actually a great manager. So my point is the Giants need to make a change because Kapler has lost the clubhouse. And when you lose a clubhouse, that not only loses this year's team, but it's going to go around and spread when players talk in the offseason. And what free agent's going to want to come to San Francisco and play under Gabe Kapler? I'm telling you, there's going to be very few.
Well, they're in a position right now where they better sure as hell find out how players feel about Gabe Kapler, because I'll tell you what's not going to be an excuse is, hey man, we had money to spend in free agency, we just couldn't get anybody. Right. Then get out. You know, I would basically, if I owned the team, I'd be like, what's the plan? And the plan has to be to sign 5 or 6 free agents of note, starting with somebody like Trey Turner.
Yep.
And how are you going to do that? Farhan's very hesitant to set the market or in any way overpay in the slightest. And now he's set up for an offseason that must include them signing a half dozen free agents. Yep. Guess what that means? Spending a shitload of money. So ownership, wrap your arms around it. Farhan, get ready to bid. And, you know, I don't care about your personal scorecard. I mean, seriously, I don't care. I mean, supposedly you spend wisely, and yet you spend $25 million combined on Tommy La Stella and Anthony DeSclafani. So, obviously you're struggling to make decisions in free agency, but I mean, my goodness, there's got to be some reason that people are going to say, yeah, you know what? $60 to park, $100 seats, $500 for a night of Giants baseball. Yeah, I want to do that. They're not doing it for Padlo, Fairchild, Yaz, Wade, Slater. They're not doing it. They're not doing it anymore. They're not going to do it. And then what? Then you're going to have a ghost town. So I really believe that the players have tuned out Kapler. Kapler at this point, to keep doing the same thing over and over again, it's like I dump Kapler simply because of his lack of creativity. Every night it's Yaz and Wade hitting at the top of the lineup. What the hell are you doing? And you day after day after day, Dominic Leone, Tyler Rogers pitching in high leverage innings out of the bullpen. What are you doing? I thought you had Cole Waits throwing 100 miles an hour. I thought you had RJ Dabovich. I thought you had, a farm system that had some players in it. There's no way in hell anybody with a brain should invest a penny in season tickets. I mean, I wouldn't buy tickets until I was walking up at the day of the game going forward with this bunch. Don't tell me what you're going to do. I don't even care in the off season. I'm not going to believe it until it's game time in April next year. And I have my money in my hand and I'll walk to the gate and I'll buy tickets myself. I'll buy tickets the day I think they're entertaining, not the day before.
Right.
Right? Absolutely. I'm not taking a chance on this anymore. And Giants fans shouldn't either. And they're not going to. People here are not fucking idiots. This is a really pretty educated market. And you can fool people for a year. You can fool people for, a year or two. But they know. They're more refined. They're more knowledgeable. They've got better intellect and better intuition than to just sit there and swallow tripe. We're going to be good. Why? Because we said so. How about this? You build the team, and if it's interesting at 9:00 in the morning, I'll get out there a couple hours early, and I'll buy tickets, and I'll pay market rate. Yeah. That's a way better deal than here we are in September of 2022, and I'm going to cut you a check for $20,000. What are you high to watch your club? I wouldn't pay $2 to watch your club. I haven't been to the yard hardly at all this year, and I don't miss it.
Yeah. They're going to give an increase in tickets next year too.
So come on. You got to be kidding me.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear Curt Casale's
yeah. Quote? Oh, yeah. Curt Casale was like, what was the exact quote? Like
I got it right here.
Go ahead.
Just now, this was in the Mariners post-game interview yesterday. Lots of young guys here. Lots of energy. Competitive. Great change of pace from some instances. Somewhat paraphrase, it says. So basically, he's taken a shot at the lack of energy in Gabe's clubhouse. Sounds like to me. I mean, that's what I took out of it. when he
Well,
says
and it's just
great change
nobody.
of pace.
Yeah, no, and nobody wants to sit there and say, "What are you doing?" You know, where is this rebuild going? It's softballs and chuckles and fantasy. And talk to you next week, bro.
I mean, look at the
come on my podcast that nobody cares about.
Look at the contrast of
it's amazing.
Even Larry last year when they won 107, there wasn't a lot of just laughing it up. You look at the Dodgers in the clubhouse; they're just like Mookie Betts, and they're doing this little thing that they do in the clubhouse in the dugout, and they're just joking and having fun off a big hit. The only thing that had the Giants going last year with some fun was Brandon Belt and the captain. He got the team going, and that was really cool. And that showed the Giants had, Belt was the personality and the guys got behind. But Gabe doesn't seem to have allow guys to just express themselves. I mean, Jock seems like the only guy that expresses himself, but Dave Roberts, a lot of people don't like him as a manager, but at least he's fighting for the guys, and he's getting fired up, and you see him yelling at umpires and coming out. And Gabe just comes out like he's entering a church service or something. He walks through and he just kind of struts out. Guy's a corpse. Then people started complaining that he had no energy, and then all of a sudden he's pushing Kai Correa and getting ejected. That lasted for 3 days. I think the players viewed it as totally fraudulent, and the team has sunk like a stone ever since. Yeah. To me, Dusty Gold says, Larry, I'm glad football's starting. Niners are stacked. The Giants are deflated. Seriously, why would you spend a nickel on the Giants when you could buy Niner tickets? Why would you spend a nickel on the Giants when the Warriors are down the street? And I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about the advertisers. If you're an advertiser and you could advertise your product, why would you advertise on the Giants when you could advertise on the Warriors? Why would you advertise on MLB, which is dying and getting older by the second and has an audience that's basically, 50 plus, 60 plus, or football, which is America's sport and is easily the most popular. Did you see this week? Talk about some excitement. The Mets, Brandon Nimmo made a great catch in center field, and the place went ecstatic. And then when the ninth inning, Edwin Diaz comes in.
Go sign him.
Yeah, and the guy with his walk-up song, they actually had the guy there that it was his song playing the trumpet there when he came. Right. The place was just jumping.
I love how everybody acts like they've been huge fans of that song forever. Then nobody's ever heard of it until like 2 weeks ago.
But where do you see that?
That was a cool scene, though.
Yeah, it was so cool. But where do you see that? The last time we saw anything like that.
Where's the creativity? Trace Thompson would have been a nice acquisition.
Yeah. But the last time we saw anything fun at Oracle was when the World Series, when Steve Perry, Journey was up there singing "Don't Stop Believing It" and had the crowd really going. That's what I want to see it. And
I don't just blame Farhan and Cap. I blame the ownership. They went cheapo. The Dodgers won 106. They added Freddie Freeman. You won 107 and said goodbye to Chris Bryant, Buster Posey, Donnie Solano, and added nobody. Yep. And then tried to sit there and pass off minor leaguers like Padlo and Fairchild and all these guys that are just nobodies to a fan base as you're charging them $60 a pop to park. Seriously, you wonder why the Dodgers took off and you're now 28 games behind. They took their 106 and invested in Freddie Freeman. You took your 107 and invested it in what? Putting cash in your pocket? The Giants owners pocketed $20 million of the fans' money and didn't reinvest it in the club. Everybody complained for years and years in the 70s and 80s about how George Steinbrenner was bad for baseball. All George Steinbrenner did was take massive profits and reinvest it in his company. To me, that's good business. What did the Giants do? They won 107 out of nowhere and pocketed the cash. Yeah. Great. You know what? Hang a flag in center field that's a gigantic dollar bill. Because that's the only flag you're going to be hanging for a long freaking time.
Yeah, the problem with Farhan, is
So the owners went cheap. Farhan has no clue of how to rebuild, and Kapler went political.
Yep.
And this is what you have. The most unattractive baseball team in the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather have the A's in the A's future than the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
The A's at least have prospects.
Yeah, exactly.
The A's did a sell-off and still have better talent.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty funny. Yeah, you look at the Dodgers. They lose Corey Seager, and like you said, they go out, get Freddie Freeman. But what do they have to do to get Freddie Freeman? They had to give him a 6th year. Atlanta was only giving him 5. So the Dodgers give him 6, realizing that, hey, maybe at the end of the contract, it's not so great for us, but he's probably going to give us 3-4 great years, and we'll probably, we'll be in title contention every year. Farhan, I'm not going to give anybody an extra year. I'm not going to sign, Kyle Schwarber because he wants a little too much.
Why would you want him? He's got 36 jacks and is dangerous.
Yeah, exactly. So he wouldn't go out and do Schwarber. He wouldn't do Castellanos, and yet the Phillies get him and add with Rhys Hoskins and Harper to that lineup. And
then the other sick thing is, how about these ridiculous Giants fans that are like, look at the Angels. You want Trout, you want this guy. Look at the Angels. They're not winning. They may not be winning, but I sure as hell would rather watch them every night than watch this drudge. And Brian Lucena says maybe the Giants should team up with Taco Bell and give away a chalupa whenever the Giants score 2 runs. Yeah. I'd be like once a week. It's chalupa night. Babe Rock says, that's right, Larry. Just so that's right. Hector says, fucking facts. I mean, there's no way around this. The ownership pocketed $20 million. The Dodgers took their money, reinvested it in Freddie Freeman. That's why the Dodgers are the Dodgers and the Giants are the Giants.
Yep. I mean, the Giants didn't even probably try and get Freddie Freeman.
The Giants kissed off Buster Posey and didn't replace him with anybody. That's how stupid they think their fans are. They're like, these people are idiots. We'll kiss off Buster. We won't re-sign Chris Bryant. We'll talk up Seiya Suzuki, but then we won't get him. And then they won't notice because these people are idiots. They're stupid. We'll just throw Padlo and Fairchild and every other minor league jackass that we can find, and we'll just parade them out there for the year and collect a bunch of cash and put it in our pockets. And these people are so stupid, they'll keep paying. Well, guess what? Guess what?
Not me. I'm not paying next year. I'm not renewing.
Joke's on you, buddy.
Many others.
Because people are going to shut it down and they'll spend their money on Warrior tickets and Niner tickets and they'll move on. They'll go on to something else. And baseball's a dying sport. They don't need you. You're not air. You're not water. You're not that level of a commodity. You're not needed. You're a luxury. And we can decide we don't need your luxury and we don't want your luxury.
Exactly.
I mean, it's so arrogant. It's so entitled. It's so ridiculous. It's bad business. You're not reinvesting in your product. And now you have this uninspiring plan. If you have a plan, because actually Farhan never actually voices any real plan. He has never told the fans what kind of timeline or how he's going to do this. And because they have no plan, they have no plan. So you're sitting here with this team that's just, it's like something in the back of your fridge that's moldy and you're like trying to get rid of it. And you don't know when to get rid of it or how to get rid of it. My God. All I got to say is if you're a season ticket holder and you re-up, you are a fool. You are a total fool. Or you got more money than you know what to do with. You got more money than sense. Anybody who has actual money and has some sense is going to sit there and say, you know what? I think I'll wait till April and see where this goes before I invest.
I think
if you're giving your money to this team now, that's just foolish. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And I'd love to see anybody who could actually verbalize why they would have faith in this ownership group, this general manager, and this field manager. Tell me why. Give me one reason. One reason anybody should re-up. They shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. Speak with your pocketbook, Giants fans. You don't need – the only reason you have a shitty team is because the ownership believes that you'll accept a shitty team. So don't, push back on that. Or guess what? Get ready for more shitty, boring teams.
Yeah, this is what I say. You have to not listen to what Farhan says, but what he does. I mean, sometimes it doesn't make sense. He says last week, we need 2, 3, 4, 5 everyday regular players. And then he says he's going to bring back Yaz, and then he wants to sign Peterson, which I'm in favor of.
But he's also a platoon guy.
Yeah. So if you sign Yaz and Peterson, you've got 2 platoon guys of your outfilders. Where are you gonna get your other outfielders? I mean, so are you basically saying there's no spot for Ramos because where are you gonna go get 3 everyday outfielders? I just don't see it. If you're gonna get 3 everyday outfielders, why are you signing Jock Peterson? He's just gonna be a pinch hitter? Because Jock's gonna play against every right-hander. So you're not going to have 3 everyday outfielders. You're going to have, and if you have Yaz, he's probably going to play against right-handers. So, I mean, if you're going to have Yaz on your bench just as a pinch hitter, my goodness, I don't want no 200 hitter coming up to pinch hit in a key spot. So why would you carry Yaz and then say you're trying to re-sign Peterson? It makes no sense when you just said you need 5 everyday players to compete.
Yeah. Well, you know what I would say to that is, you know what? I really badly want to re-up my tickets for 2023. Oh, I forgot my checkbook. That's about as consistent as that. I mean, it's just, if you pay in advance for Giants season tickets and you empower this organization to stay on this ridiculous path, you are a fool and you deserve what you get.
The only way this team wakes up, the ownership, is if they have a mass exodus of season ticket holders. That's
Speak to the Giants with your pocketbook. Speak to the Giants by taking your money out of their equation. You'll see no more Gabe. You'll see no more Farhan. You'll see regime change. You'll see free agents. You're not going to see them if you give them your cash. Yep. It's as simple as that. You give these guys your cash, they're going to sit there and say, you know what? Our fan base is a bunch of jackasses. We can do anything we want. Take your money out of their equation.
Yep. I'll tell you what.
And you will see change. Speak with your pocketbook and you will get answers.
Yes.
Sitting there paying for crab sandwiches, rubbing your hands together, paying $60 to park to watch the most boring fucking team in the game is going to get you more of the same. Humble season ticket salesman. If you asked me 7 years ago that Jed York would be more deserving of my money than the Giants, I would have called you crazy. How the tables have turned. It's just no doubt.
Yeah,
just
you
no
gotta
doubt.
learn. You got to learn. You want to win. Look what Steve Cohn. Is it Steve Cohn, the New York Mets manager?
Yeah.
Owner. Is that his name? Steve.
Billionaire.
Look what he did this year. He said, "Screw it. I want to win." He goes out and signs Max Scherzer, Mark Canha, Sterling Marte.
They're one of the most exciting teams in the game. Yeah. Dodgers Mets is probably what we're looking at.
Yeah, exactly. And he's got Lindor, Francisco Lindor, and he's got Pete Alonso. So, the Mets are trying to win, and the owner has got enough money, and so do the Giants. So they need to spend money. And as Larry said, and I've said it for months now, don't renew your tickets, season tickets, because that's what gets you change. And believe me, you'll be able to get good seats to games. And if you want to re-up because the Giants actually hear us and listen and go out and sign real Major League Baseball players, not guys that have been DFA'd from other organizations because they were a second-round draft pick or a first-round draft pick at one point. Now they're 28. I'm
tired of paying Major League prices for minor league fucking baseball. Exactly. Kyle McKiernan, holy shit, I'm fucking laughing so hard. Hang a dollar bill sign in center field. Cap has 568 ladies, says, Larry, I agree with you. Seriously, I mean, they're charging major league prices for a minor league product. And if you pay major league prices for a minor league product, if that's okay with you, go for it. You got that kind of cash, you're that flush, go for it. But guess what? When I go to Ruth Chris Steakhouse, I go to Morton's, and I order a filet, and it's like $75, and they drop a flank steak on me. You know what? I say, excuse me, waitress, I paid $75 for a filet. This appears to be flank steak. And then guess what she says? Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'll be right back with your filet. You're paying filet mignon prices. You are getting flank steak. And there's just no way around that. So do you want to keep doing that? You know, do you consider yourself smart? If you consider yourself smart, you know, what's the old saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Or fool me twice, I think it's the other way. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. If you keep falling for this, it's really your own fault. Val Ramos, that's right, Larry. Let's go Giants are a hot mess right now. Robert Rothberg, I still watch every Giant game. Fine, watch. I watch too. So what? I wouldn't give them a nickel of my money. And I sure as hell wouldn't do it months in advance. Why? What the hell? Why? Why would I do that? I could walk up tonight and sit anywhere I want.
You know what they're doing this year, Larry? This week, they have given season ticket holders $50 toward concessions for each ticket and 30% off on the merchandise. They didn't do that last year for us. So this year they're trying to bribe us and beg us to renew.
The Padres outspent you by $55 million. The Padres. In San Diego, California, a relatively regressed economy compared to Northern California.
Yeah.
$55 million. You got outspent by the Padres by $55 million. That is shameful.
Yep.
There's no other way to say it.
No, I would love to have a GM like AJ Preller because he's going for it, and he had the courage to not only fire Jace Tingler. Everybody thought it, including myself. I thought, oh, Bochy's going to get that job. You know, he wants to get back into managing, and he goes and gets Bob Melvin. I mean, what a find. I mean, that's just outside the box thinking. You know, going and getting a manager who's already under contract, knowing that the A's would release him. I mean, that's just thinking outside the box. I mean, I don't know who's running the Giants. If it's, it doesn't sound like Larry Bear's doing. Is it Greg Johnson? Is he the one that's, or whatever is one of the Johnson kids that's actually calling the shots? Since
it's probably somebody who's taking a long freaking nap. Otherwise, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I mean
seriously, what are you doing? What are you doing? You've handed the keys to your kingdom to Farhan Zaidi. He has no rings. You've handed the keys to the kingdom to Gabe Kapler. He has no rings. You have a coaching staff that combined has no rings. Now here you are. Now you're sitting here with a boring product with nobody to watch and nobody on the verge. And it's like you're sitting there and they're asking season ticket holders to invest tens of thousands of dollars to watch a crappy product for big dollars. Who's doing that? Who the hell's doing that?
Yeah, and I'll say this.
I mean, seriously.
I'll be the guy in the media that says this because no one wants to touch this. But I'll say that. I'll say it. I'm okay with Alyssa Nakken being in baseball and being a Giants.
Oh, it's progress. It's great. Phenomenal.
But she didn't pay any dues in the minor leagues to get any coaching experience. This is a first-time coach on a major league roster, along with Kai Correa, who never coached in the, this is what I'm getting at is this coaching staff that Gabe hired. I don't know any of them that really had any major league experience coaching. Ron Wotus was there last year to hold the team together. And he was the bridge, him and Buster Posey. And I'm telling you, I believe those are the guys that kept the clubhouse together because they probably kept the players going to them rather than having to go straight to Gabe. Now that Wotus is gone and Buster's gone, it's like, how do you get Gabe's just, he's emotionless. He's just, we're trying. We're doing everything right. We're practicing. We're out doing this. We're in other words, Gabe's saying we're doing everything we should be doing, so it's not my fault.
Oh, he's so seriously. That was the weakest. That is not a leader. A leader doesn't say, "Hey, it's on me. It's on me. Hey, we're doing everything over here. My hands are tied. Whew. Hey, whew." No, that's not a leader. Mix in, you know what? It's my fault. I'll take the blame. I'm the boss here. I'm the manager here. I'm the big stick here. I'm the guy who's putting out the lineup. I'm the guy who's making the decisions. Blame me. That's a leader. Not, hey, we're doing everything right. We're doing all the stuff we should be doing. We're doing that. We're doing that. We're doing that. We're doing that. You suck. You suck and you're boring. My God. Yeah, no, that right there. In some ways, I would say you should be able to fire Gabe on that quote alone. We're doing everything we can over here, and we're still losing. Right. Oh, let's blame the players. Let's blame Farhan. Let's point fingers.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Come on. You're the leader. We're supposed to follow you. I don't think guys are following you, Gabe. I don't believe guys are following you. Robert Rothberg, Larry, there are diehard fans who will tolerate what's going on. Yes, Robert, they're called idiots. Jeremy Lopez donates $1.99. I'm not going to read that. I won't read it out loud. He says, this all went down once blank pushed blank. I'm not going to say that. Robert Rothberg, Farhan is not the owner. The owners can take control. They're all to blame. They are all to blame. Farhan can't sit there and go, it's on the owners. It's on the owners that they've cheaped out and pocketed $20 million. Yep. But guess what? It's on Farhan because Farhan talked a big game. And guess what I would say to Farhan? You're all hat and no cattle. You talked about Seiya Suzuki. You talked about Trevor Story. You didn't follow that up with anybody. You created expectations that you were going to sign big league players, and then you signed minor league players. I mean, it's not that complicated. He went into the All-Star break or into the trade deadline a couple weeks before. He did an interview on the radio. He said, you know what? We can sign a superstar player. He said that. Look it up. Superstar player. And then added J.D. Davis and 3 minor league arms. Yeah. Anybody who knows sales knows you under promise, you over deliver. He did the opposite. Farhan is to blame. Farhan has to share in the blame. He's a horrendous salesperson, and he's never rebuilt a team, and he has no World Series rings. Those are the facts. Okay, if the facts were different, I would tell you they were different. He has no rings. He's awful at sales. He created an illusion that they were going to go get players that they had no interest in go getting.
Yeah.
So he's to blame. Gabe's to blame for politicizing the season, for his stance of I'm not going to go out and this and that, whatever. And then the ownership.
If you notice, if there's a timeline, it kind of started to fall apart shortly after that. I don't know. Dusty
Gold, speak with your pocketbook. Empty the stands. Seriously, if you're asking me what I think you ought to do, speak with your pocketbook and empty the stands. Dusty Gold just said it. That's the game plan for 2023. And then if you know what, I'll pivot off of speak with my pocketbook and not go when they do something that makes me want to spend some money. Because guess what? I like to spend money. I like to watch baseball. I like to see stars play. I like to be entertained. I'm no different than anybody else, but I ain't going to just keep feeding money into a slot machine where there's no payout.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what the Giants are. They're a slot machine that's broken that will never pay out. And you're sitting there feeding a coin, pulling the arm, feeding a coin, pulling the arm. Here's $60 more to park. Here's $36 more for a crab sandwich. Here's $12 for 2 churros. Here's $27 for a jersey with nobody's name on it. Here's, for what? For what? Where's it going? Where's it going? Where's my Barry Bonds? Where's my Juan Soto? Where's my Ronald Acuna? Where's my Mike Trout? Where's my Shohei Ohtani? I don't have that. I've got Padlo and Fairchild,
Yeah.
Papirski.
Even the young players that are coming up.
I'm paying filet mignon prices, and you're feeding me Papirski, damn it.
I mean, look at the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez. I mean, he's another star, rookie. I mean, you look at the guys that are in the game coming up, and the Giants haven't had anybody of like stardom come up from their draft room since Buster Posey. I mean, that was the last one.
It's a sleepy product, and they're all cashing out. The owners cashed out this year. They spent 107 they won 107 last year, and instead of reinvesting that money in the club, they pocketed it. They took the $20 million and they put it in their pocket. Well, guess what? Instead of going to a playoff game, how about trip down to the B of A ATM so we can do a balance inquiry? Because that's the only place you're going to win anytime soon is at the balance inquiry at the ATM. Because you sure as hell ain't winning on the field. You're not winning on the field. You're not winning this division. You're not winning this division this year, next year, or any time in the foreseeable future. You can't cheap out and ask people to pay major league prices and offer them minor league players. You can't. And you can't overpromise and underdeliver. Otherwise, guess what? People get pissed. And you can't politicize the baseball season because guess what? There's guys in the dugout that don't agree with your political viewpoints and they tune you out. And that's where we're at. We got a manager who went political, who's tuned out. We got a general manager who can't develop any prospects, who's got a great laugh, and that's about it. And you got an ownership group that is absolutely flushed. The Giants ownership group is better positioned than 99% of all Major League Baseball owners. They own their ballpark outright. There is no mortgage. They own Mission Rock project and all that money coming in south of the ballpark. It's a gigantic venture with huge revenue, with generational wealth. It's the biggest real estate deal in the history of the city of San Francisco. And they're sitting there pocketing the money, not reinvesting it in the club. And we're going to sit there and pat them on the back and call them smart? Come on, man. Come on. Seriously, people are going to bang on the late George Steinbrenner because he spent money. He reinvested his profit in his team. The Dodgers, they make a ton of revenue. Guess what they did? They reinvested it. They said, hey, Dodger fans, here's Freddie Freeman. What do the Giants do?
Yeah, I don't even think the Giants ownership group, it really cares much about San Francisco, and they're not probably real sports fans. The one thing I got to give credit about Steve Cohen in the Mets, he came out last year and he made some comments and he made some tweets that got people upset. But the guy wants to win, and he's putting his money where his mouth is, and he's giving everything he's got to his team and the city of New York and its fans. The Dodgers do the same thing. They have an ownership group that wants to win, and Magic Johnson's part of that. And there's guys that just. And even the Warriors, other owner, Peter Goober, he's part of that ownership group at the Dodgers. I mean, look what he's doing. He's a winner with the Warriors. He's a winner with the Dodgers. The Giants, they got guys that just came in, made investments, and it seems like they're more interested in like the real estate than they are the actual ball club.
If they want to make a profit, sell to somebody who's going to get in the game. But get in the game. Stop taking your fans taking advantage of your fans. Reinvest in your product. My God. Mike Vass, Larry, you're making many good points. The only way for fans to hold the current front office and ownership accountable is to withhold spending money on their boring product. Well said. Eddie K's 24. Somebody make shirts. Don't renew or we're screwed.
Yeah. I mean, you got to be.
That's a good one. Fozzie. I thought we won tonight. LOL. Yeah. They did win tonight. They did win tonight. But
nobody cares. That's why we're not even talking about the game. We don't care because they're done. We're more interested in what they're going to do next year.
Because it's done, man. It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. It was a wrap a month ago. We told you guys and the rest of the media. We've been saying it longer that the odds were, at one point 4% before the All-Star break. And Farhan says, we believe in this team. We believe in the current team, even though the odds said 4%. Well, guess what, Farhan? Now they're less than 0.5%.
Good thing they held on to Rodon.
Yeah.
Good thing they held on to Jock. I would hate to have gotten a prospect or two for those guys and missed this incredible second half renaissance that we were going to enjoy. I mean, you can't even handicap your own team. Seriously, you thought you were going to make a playoff run? Really? Did you really think you're going to make a playoff run? Or did they do all this just so they wouldn't be embarrassed when they honored the 2012 team? That's what I think really happened here. That's what happened. That's what happened, Danny. They didn't want to be embarrassed when the Will Clark retirement thing. They didn't want to be embarrassed when they honored the 2012 team. They knew that if they sold off on Rodon and Jock, that the attendance would be that much flatter for the and they didn't want to be embarrassed. So they chose their lack of they didn't want to be embarrassed. So guess what? They decided not to sell off pieces for prospects.
Hey, let me give you a little hint next year.
I hope that was a great weekend. Let
me give you a hint, San Francisco Giants. Next year, when you do big promotions, do them before the trade deadline.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Joe Blow says, don't get fooled again. Jake the Frog says, I lost interest in this team. I just came to see you, Larry. Thank you. Appreciate that.
At least they got the Buster Posey thing right and did it early in the season. Would they do that in May? Or I think they did that in late
Why
May.
Would you think for a second that I knew they were screwed as soon as they got 2 weeks into the season, and it was clear that even in the late developing free agent market that they weren't gonna replace Bryant or Posey. It was like, that's it. You know what? Dusty Gold says, to think I went to spring training this year hoping for a World Series run.
You know, and I think we got fooled from last year. We still believed at the beginning of the year that they were going into the season that they would be a 90-win team and a wild card team. None of us thought they'd win 100 games. We just didn't see that. But, you know, you think, okay, 17, 18 game fall off. They win 89, 90. And they had the ability to do that. But I believe the team was going well. They were riding pretty good. They were 8-10 games over. And then Gabe decided to do his little national anthem stunt. And I think he lost some players there. We've read many comments during the year about Jaylene Crawford making the comment about, doesn't this team bunt? Well, nobody says that on a team if she's not hearing things. Brandon Crawford, to me, looks like a guy that's just fed up with Gabe. I mean, just even the way he got thrown out the other night, it was just like, you know, you don't see Brandon Crawford getting that upset and getting himself tossed or even arguing with umps if he's not completely frustrated. I mean, he's just got to be like riding this thing out. It's just got to be really like, I mean, I just don't see how this team, when you look at what they were going through, that they thought they were in this, and that they came up on the All-Star break. And then even after the All-Star break, when they came out and they were losing to the Dodgers, it was like you still had a chance. They lost 4 straight to the Dodgers. And then they went to Arizona, I believe, and they lost 3 more. They lost like 7 or 8 right after the break. And they still had the trade deadline coming. And then they had LA come to San Francisco. And that was when Machado was up on the roster. And it was like, okay, you're going to get swept by the Dodgers. Go ahead before the trade deadline. You had the second game at home on August 2nd. That was the trade deadline. On August 1st, you lost to the Dodgers 8-2. And the trade deadline was the next day. And you still had chance to make trades, and you'd already lost like 9 or 10 out of 12. So you knew the season was done, and he didn't do anything. He didn't get rid of Jock or Rodon, and he said, we believe in the present. He was still believing that this team was just a hot streak away from getting back into the race.
But he's a genius.
Yeah. And I mean, like you said, Larry, you can't even read your own team. everybody could see it. I mean, you and I were saying this is so easy to see. Why does he? I mean, I was really looking forward to the trade deadline because I wanted a good prospect for Rodon. I'm looking forward to the future. Build
The
the thing.
reason that you signed Rodon to a 2-year deal is so you could hawk him, and then you don't.
Yeah. Now
It was stupid. It was stupid. I mean, seriously, you paid the guy $22 million on a 2-year deal, so
you better
could
shut him down right now
him.
because if he injures his arm this month, guess what, Farhan? He's going to have Tommy John, and you're going to be stuck with him next year, and you're not going to be able to use that money to get somebody else. Shut Rodon down.
Yeah.
You're out of
Dusty Gold says, Larry, I feel the Giants backstabbed us, and they're turning the knife. Babe Rock says, Larry's going hard. Romo 2001 says, here's $2. Get Philly Sports Talk podcast in the chat to call in. We're almost done here, but I mean, it's just ridiculous.
I don't know why
somebody's like, stay positive. Stay positive. Screw you.
Why wouldn't they shut Rodon down? If he's that's what the 49ers did. They shut Jimmy down because he was an asset to them, and they weren't going to blow it. They weren't going to let him go out and get injured and then get stuck holding $27 million. Why would you do that with Rodon? I get it that you pitched him up till now, but you're 10 games behind in the wild card.
Because it's about stank eye. They didn't want to be embarrassed. Larry Bear and the ownership group were going to be embarrassed if they invited all these Giants people to town, flew all these people
going forward. September, shut him down.
No, I know, but I'm saying that's why they didn't trade him, was because they were going to be embarrassed late in the year, and so they chose their own personal embarrassment over divesting themselves of a asset that's going to walk at the end of the year for nothing anyway. Yeah, it's crazy.
Here's what I go to Rodon right now. I say, look, we want you to come back. Here's the contract. We're willing to sign you and extend you, but if you're not going to sign it, we have to protect ourselves from you possibly getting hurt and not being able to play next year. So we're going to hopefully you're going to re-sign this extended deal for more money, or we're going to shut you down for the rest of the season. And you just leave it in his hands because you got to find out what he's going to do. That's what Mike Rizzo did with Juan Soto. He offered him enough money to, where are you at, Juan? Are you going to sign with us if we give you the moon? If not, we're going to move on now. And that's what he did. And he got a haul. And we'll see what that haul provides. It'll take a couple years. But this is
Have you heard any of the people who are actually paid to talk about this team in the last few weeks? I've never heard a group of more defeated, people with nothing to say. Literally nothing to say. They're sitting there. What's that?
Who are you talking about? The front office? Or?
I'm talking about the media people whose job it is to talk about this team. The people on the radio, people on the TV. They're just sitting there, just like neutered, just totally neutered. Just like, I know this product sucks. I know this team's going nowhere, but we've got 27 games left. And, I lived, in some other market 3 years ago, but now I'm going to pretend like I'm super passionate and I'm going to run around the studio like a fool, because I'm so sad about the Giants when they don't care. Yeah. It's just ridiculous. And then, the people are just sitting there. Well, maybe we can talk a little football. We'll try to talk a little football here because what can we say? It's the same old stupid story night after night after night. Matthew Mears says, not much hope for next year. Can't wait for Larry to lay into them when they do nothing in the offseason. I can't do this every night. I'm just sitting here going, what is going on? And I figured, you know what? Let's say it after they win. Let's talk about a game, talk about where they're going after they win, because it always comes across like, oh, you're just beating up on them because they lost tonight.
Yeah, no, they won big tonight.
They won big tonight. They won big tonight, but they're going nowhere and they're building nothing, and they're not deserving of your money. And if you give it to them, you're crazy.
If I own this team, I'm probably looking at either definitely monitoring the rest of Logan Webb's starts and not overworking him, but I would consider maybe shutting him down. He's pitched more innings this year than he has so far in his career. Do you want to tire him out like you did Tyler Rogers last year, and he goes into 23 a little bit tired because he's been overworked. You don't need him this year, the rest of the year. Ease off on him. He's given you a great year. What do you need from Logan Webb for another 6 starts? What are you going to get out of him? You're going to get another 35 innings, maybe 40 innings, and maybe you wear him out because he's never pitched this amount at all at any point in his career. How
about Logan Webb speaking candidly, saying the team has no fire? That's on Kapler.
Yep.
That's absolutely on Kapler.
That's totally on Kapler.
And look at this. Look how many position players stood up and said things. None. Why? Because they don't have any. They don't have any position players that are invested in the team. So who spoke up and talked about things this year? Alex Wood, Carlos Rodon, Logan Webb. I mean, when your starting pitchers are your leaders on your team.
You know why they're saying that, Larry?
That's a bad situation.
They can talk because they're under contract. The rest of these guys are fighting for their
DFA material.
And if they come out and say anything negative, they're gone.
They're gone. Yeah.
Yeah. So you got guys.
Jeremy Lopez says, here's $1.99. Someone hit up Joe Lakeup to buy the team. I mean, seriously, if you're not going to compete, get off the stage. If you don't want to compete, then, there's other ways to make money. Go do it. Go find it. Go find a way.
Webb, he can say what he said because he's a star. And he knows if, he's not going to get DFA'd. And if he gets traded, he'll just move on and make money somewhere else. But guys like Yaz, Wade, who else do they have? Gosh, they just got so many. They're not going to say much.
They got nobody. They got nobody. They got nobody who's signed long term. What's Tommy LaStella going to say something? No, because people are going to notice how crappy he is and say, why don't you DFA him?
Yeah, I read an article.
He's the only guy who signed.
Yeah, I read an article from Baggs on in the Athletic. He said the Giants had a chance this past Monday night, to actually DFA Jock Peterson so he could catch on with a playoff team because of waivers. And it had to be done Monday night, so someone was on a roster by before September 1st. And I thought about it, and I thought, maybe they talked to Jock and he didn't want that, but he made the comment this past week. This is the first time I've been on a team that hasn't won the division, and it stinks. And so you could tell he's probably not enjoying this year at all. And the thing about Baggs' point was, if you release Jock Peterson, it shows that you're a players' organization, and that if things don't go well, you'll make it right and allow them to catch on with the playoff team. And that shows good for the future.
Baggs is wrong. Baggs is, of course, wrong.
You think so?
No, yeah, Baggs is totally wrong. You don't owe it to anybody but your own fans. You don't get rid of entertaining players and probably the best player on your team and one of your only all-stars for the good of him. You care about your fans. How about the good of your fans? How about the good of the people watching the show that you're charging an arm and a leg for?
You don't owe
Jock Peterson to help him find a playoff home for the 8th year in a row. You owe it to the fans to put the best team on the field. That's who you owe. The people who are spending $60 to park. The people that are paying $36 for crab sandwiches. That's who you owe. You don't owe Jock Peterson the word this just in. Going to the playoffs every year is not your birthright, Jock Peterson. So that's like such a player-centric suck-up take, and it has nothing. Once again, another media person who doesn't spend a nickel on tickets, doesn't spend a nickel to park, creating you got to do this. That's crazy talk. That's crazy talk. Michael Michio says, God bless Larry for speaking up and saying what nobody else will. The ownership group is a joke. They're not a joke. They're pocketing the money. They're pocketing your money and asking you for more. And I wouldn't give him any more, and you shouldn't give him any more. Eddie says, Larry, I don't know what you got to do, but I want to get Farhan's BA on the radio, and I want you to Dan Le Batard his ass. Well, I mean, seriously, we're in an era now where you only speak to people who are favorable to you. Nobody speaks to anybody who asks a tough question anymore, because why would you? Why would you answer a tough question when you can find any jackass to lob you softballs and joke about your fantasy team? So, I mean, that's reality. I wouldn't necessarily do it either. Why would I want to get beaten up by somebody who actually knows chapter and verse what they're talking about when I can just sit there and giggle and, get down the road and go on the blankety blank podcast and sit there on the mezzanine level and glad hand. I mean, why would he ever come on with me? I'm going to ask him tough questions. My first question would be, hey, you're 13th in payroll. You're 5th in revenue. Why? Well, why don't we start right there? And that's, there's no ambiguity about that question.
We really tried. It's not that we're trying to hold back.
That's the first question, So, and sometimes these guys want a list of the questions. If I ever got submitted a request to have these guys on and gave them a list of the questions, they'd read 3 questions and be like, hell no, I ain't going on. I wouldn't go on either because you have nothing to say. You have no answer. The ownership group, what's the answer? You won 107 games. You pocketed $20 million of the fans' money. You didn't reinvest it in the team. Why? I don't want to answer that question. Okay, don't come on. You're the general manager. You promise, you talk big, and you delivered nothing. Would I want to answer that question? Why did you talk big and deliver nothing? No, I don't want to answer that question. You're Gabe Kapler. You went political for the second year in a row or third year in a row, and you probably lost some guys in the process. Do you think would you regret doing that? That's a tough question. I don't think he's going to get that question. So I wouldn't want to come on if I was him either. So, I understand why these guys hide out, but ultimately, if you're a Giants fan, you have very little power. The only power you have is to speak with your pocketbook.
Yep.
And right now they're asking you for a re-up and you tell them, no, I'll walk up instead of re-upping, because guess what? I feel like I can walk up at 6:30 next May and get a pretty decent seat and keep my money.
Pretty cheap. Exactly.
Pretty cheap.
Exactly.
I think I can go on the secondary market and find the tickets that the people who pay premier rates are looking to offload because it's so fucking boring. I'll buy them on the secondary market. Eddie says Larry's a man of the people. I'm not a man of the people. I'm just a real Giants fan. And also I'm one of these people that, you know what? I see what's going on, and I'll talk baseball until there's no baseball to talk. And now there's no baseball to talk. So now it's like, all right, let's talk about why things went south. And when you get into why things went south, it doesn't take too long before you figure out that the ownership didn't reinvest their profit. They pocketed it. And Farhan didn't do a good job building this thing. He was all hat and no cattle. And Gabe Kapler, through a number of his communications with his players, appears to have lost his clubhouse. And I personally think that's once that happens, there ain't no getting it back. Nope. So welcome to your offseason, Giants fans. The cheap ownership group, the I have no pelts on the wall general manager, or, Paul Bagala running the dugout. Either way, that's what you got. So good luck. Good luck to you. Mike Vaz says, thank you, Larry, for keeping it real.
Tonight, for example, my tickets were $66 a piece. I got them sold for $19. I'm Mr. 19. Call me Mr. You be Mr. 66. I'll be Mr. 19. You pay $66 for it. I'll come along and pay 19. That's me next year. I'll go to the games I want to go to. I'll walk up right to the game right before the game. I'll open up my StubHub app. I'll look for the seats and go just where I want to sit on the club level or anywhere else, and I'll find the price, because you know what? Even if
you ain't a jackass, you're not a fool.
Even if I have to miss the first inning, I'll watch the prices just keep coming down, because they come way down as soon as the game starts, and that's just the way it is. And the season ticket holders are left holding the bag. And you like Larry said, you're a fool if you keep renewing.
You're a fool. You're an absolute damn fool. Kyle McKiernan, 100%. Get the club seats for 40 cents on the dollar. All right, we've talked this thing into the ground.
Yeah.
I don't, I love the Giants and I want to see them do well, but I'm not a fool. And I can see when ownership has pocketed profits, and I can see when the general manager's bullshit and has promised things that he can't deliver. And I can see when the manager has lost the clubhouse, when guys stop playing and the team is dead as a doornail. So bring it on back if you want, bring it all back, run Cap back, run Gabe back, run Farhan back, run the ridiculous prices back, run your $60 parking back, see what you get. Roll the dice, big boy, see what you get. Good luck to you.
Yeah, good luck because, this ain't Candlestick Park anymore where it's a tough place to go. This is a beautiful ballpark, one of the top ballparks, probably the top 3 ballparks in all of Major League Baseball. You won 3 world championships, so you own the ballpark. People want to come see a winning team with excitement, but you guys keep throwing this product out, you're going to have nobody show up, and it's all on you. That's all I got to say, because if this is the way you want to run an organization, more power to you. I'll come to certain games I wanted to, as I just mentioned, but I'm like Larry said, I'm going to be the guy paying $19, not $66.
We don't need it. We don't need it. Guess what? I love March. I love watching the Giants in March. But guess what? I can watch the NCAA tournament. You know what? I love watching, the Giants in April, May, and June. But guess what? I can watch the NBA playoffs. Yes. And the Warriors are probably going to go to the finals again. Right. I like the Giants, in July. But guess what? I can save my money and go to training camp and go to a couple NFL preseason games. Yes. I like watching the Giants down the stretch in August and September. But I can easily replace it with college and pro football. So guess what, baseball? Guess what, Giants? We don't need you. We don't need you. And if I want to squeeze in a couple games along the way, I'll pay scalper prices. I don't care. I don't need to give you tens of thousands of dollars to see a crappy product with no prospects and listen to your general manager lie to me and your manager talk down to me and the ownership group think we're all a bunch of idiots. We're not. Exactly. And they're going to, and the people will rise up and they'll speak with their pocketbook and you'll find out the hard way.
Exactly. If I went to 5 games a year, the really good games I wanted to, and the Giants were one of the top teams on a 100-win pace, and it was tough to get a ticket, and I had to pay $100 a ticket for 2 tickets. Okay, so I just spent $1,000. I saved $11,000 of paying for 81 games. Okay, so now if you're good and you really get your prospects coming up, maybe I consider getting season tickets again, because then I can sell them and at least I break even, maybe even make a few bucks if you make the playoffs. But
you know what I would say, as the Giants are trying to court their fans to come back to the yard, you guys keep telling me about how the farm system's turned around and how the system's spitting out prospects. I'll make you a deal. When you can produce 5 good prospects, I'll produce my season tickets. Until then, go away.
Right.
I don't want to hear about you. I don't want to hear from you. Go away until you say you've got this thing turned around and you're getting prospects. Great. When they're promoted to the big leagues and they're producing in the big leagues, call me back and I'll reassess. And until then, don't call me back.
And you know what, Larry? You hit the nail on the head.
It's like the people who call ask you if you want the newspaper. No, I don't want the newspaper. I can get the newspaper online for free, and I don't need it. Yeah, it's a pamphlet, and there's nothing good in there. I don't need the newspaper, and I sure as hell don't need tickets to a overpriced baseball team. Once again, you say the farm system's coming, great. I'm with you. Good luck to everybody. When you can show me 5 guys who are all good that you're going to promote to the big leagues and they're going to be fun to watch, call me back, and then I'll reinvest. Until you get that, don't call. Yeah. Don't call.
And you hit the nail on the head,
I don't want your product.
With when you said the press, the media, people say we're negative, this and or fans. You're negative about talking about the Giants. Well, listen. if you're putting $12,000,
you show me the guy right now who's positive talking about the Giants, and I'll show you somebody who's delusional.
And he's not investing in the team.
And he's not invested.
Yeah. If
there
you're invested,
is nobody invested who's talking positively about this.
Yeah.
Every media person who's talking positive is trying to win favor for Farhan to show up on their podcast. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong.
Because I'll tell you, maybe I wouldn't be so pissed off if I hadn't lost so much money this year, and now they're asking me to renew for next year right now. And I've seen this parade of nobodies. I'm not going to pay. I wouldn't even probably accept going to games if you paid me right now, because it's that bad of a product. It's not worth watching.
Callie Hat says, cool. Sounds like you and Danny need to take a couple of years off. Easy peasy. It's fine with us. Fine with us.
Yeah.
Of all the things that we talk about, the Giants is probably the most boring.
Yeah,
between NFL football, the Warriors, basketball, all the postseason NBA live streams we did, all the post game that we did. I did a live stream the other day with Vish talking about the 49ers. We had 500 people in the room. Why? Because people care about the 49ers. 25% of those people are here after a typical baseball game. Yep. Baseball is a dying sport. Dying sport.
It is,
and it's dying here, and it's as clear as day. So, do what you want with your money, but I think if you invest in this thing without some absolute movement. I mean, I need to see some action, Jack. I need to see some movement. I need to see some free agents. I need to see a creative trade. If Farhan's a genius, show me. If the ownership is going to reinvest the money, do it. Until then, don't come knocking on my door looking for money, because ultimately, you know what? Callie Hat says baseball's hardly dying. Really? The average age of the fans of baseball are like 57 years old. That's the average age. 57 years old. That's a fact.
What's a trade that actually Farhan has made that's been of significance of a major league player other than Chris Bryant? And I know J.D. Davis came, but I mean, I can't think of any actual major league trades. I know there's got to be one or two that's happened, but nothing that's like just got me all excited. Like, No,
Farhan's the king of something for nothing. He's not going to trade anything. He's not going to trade for much, but he's going to trade less to get it. That's his philosophy. If you said, what's his philosophy 4 years in? That's his philosophy 4 years in. I ain't trading for shit, but I'm trading less. I'm not going to get anybody, but I'm not giving anybody away. And that's basically it. I'm not going to give any. I'm going to try to make incremental improvements, but really that can be defined as I'm never going to give away anything of substance, and I'll try to bottom feed and rip people off.
Yeah, but I mean, in 2019, he came up, and so then we had the shortened season in 20, and then last year, and then this year. What major league players have been like come over to the Giants?
What's his best acquisition? Wilmer Flores?
I mean, Chris Bryant.
What's his best acquisition? Best movies made. What is it?
Thinking.
Probably Flores. Signing Wilmer Flores.
Gosman was a good deal.
Gosman,
Flores,
Rodon, I guess maybe for $22 million, but I mean, even that's we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't really been anything.
But we're talking about year 4. Yeah, we're not talking about 4 months into the regime. We're talking about the 4th year.
Yeah, I know. It's just like
it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
it's absolutely embarrassing.
I mean,
there's nothing to point to. There's nothing. There's no there. It's the cotton candy of general managers.
Yeah. I mean, he got excited about Yaz hitting 20 home runs in 2019, and he hit 25 last year.
But are you smart if you pick off Yaz Okay, but are you then dumb if you stay with him for 3 years too long?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? That kind of negates the smart move to begin with.
Right. I mean, I've seen enough of Yaz to know that, he's not a major league hitter that's going to hit for average. So it's like, and he's getting older. It's not like, okay, hey, he's still 24 years old. He's still 25 years old. He had a bad year. I mean, you look at Cody Bellinger, he seems to really digress. And a lot of people I know that are Dodger people want to, they're done with Bellinger. They want to see their other younger prospects come up. But I don't know. It's just like,
where's our Freddie Freeman?
Yeah. Where? Yeah, we don't have any real talent or speed. I mean, we don't have any athletic people.
No power, no speed, nobody who can hit 1, nobody who can hit 2, nobody who can hit 3, nobody who can hit 4. I mean, What are we talking about? I mean, seriously, if you find somebody who's super passionate about Gabe and Farhan are great, you got to start to wonder. Where's that passion coming from? Why is that person passionate?
Look at your top 2 guys batting tonight. 183 and 206. What in the world? I mean, who makes a lineup like that? I know. Seriously, who makes out a lineup card that says, I'm putting my worst hitting player in the leadoff spot?
And this belief in these minor leaguers, late night Lamont, he's now sleeping in the late night. Yaz, nice little story.
Yeah.
What's going on? I mean, adjust.
Yeah, it just
adjust.
You know who I'd have hitting leadoff right now if I was just
Luis Gonzalez.
Exactly, Luis Gonzalez. He's got speed. He can get on base. You should have hit
Luis Gonzalez 1, Lewis Brinson 2.
Yeah, put Brinson in the lineup. I want to see what he's got.
Of course you do. Of course you do, and you're reasonable to want that.
Yeah, I mean, tonight, I want to see Ramos up batting third.
Exactly. That should be 1, 2, 3.
I want to see what that outfield does.
Right.
Let's see it. It's got speed. It's got some power. And then I wish he wasn't hurt, but I wanted to see Isan Diaz play second base. Yeah. I want to see what these guys got. I want to see them just play. This is what you look forward to, and you try and get guys some experience. This isn't, spring training. This is, you're playing teams that are in pennant races. They're going to be throwing their best guys at you. Let's see what you got.
I think we should call tonight's podcast Friday Night in the Park. Instead of Sundays in the Park, we'll go with Friday Night in the Park, because we gave them a little bit of honesty here.
You know what? I got
better than you're going to get anywhere else.
I got a thought here. Is he afraid that if Ramos comes up and is successful, that it was not his guy?
God, I hope he's not that petty.
I mean, why is he not up?
If he's not petty, then he really needs to go.
I mean, why is he not up? I don't care.
He's not doing it in the minors.
Exactly. But nobody's doing it in the majors. So let's see. I mean, are you going to really mess him up for a month if he comes up and plays every day? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, no, it's pathetic. All right, let's do this. Let's play our spots, and then we'll get the hell out of here on a Friday night on the Krueg Show. Larry Krueger here for Telmetrics. Thanks to Casey Bateman and the good people at Telmetrics. If you're an occupational therapist, if you're an orthopedic surgeon, a chiropractor, a physical therapist of any kind, Telmetrics is designed for you to use in your practice and will greatly benefit your patients. Telmetrics uses computer vision and artificial intelligence and provides a platform for outpatient rehab therapy services, both in the clinical and the telehealth environments. So using Telmetrics can improve your patient's experience and much more. So for all your sports injury needs, or if you're a physical rehabilitation specialist of any kind, make sure you use telmetrics.co, TELMETRIX.co. And thanks to Casey Bateman and all the good people at Telmetrics for being a proud sponsor of the Krueg. I'd like to thank our sponsor, Dan Coccimilgio. Dan is a buddy, and he is a phenomenal retirement planning specialist. And you can contact him today at securemoney.com or at his number, 925-628
888-628-9966. There's a lot of uncertainty in our world right now, and you want to make sure that your money is secure. That is the key. Danny's got 25 years of experience, born and raised right here in the Bay Area, and he can help you get an immediate 10% premium bonus on your principal retirement account. So give him a call, 925-628-9966. He'll make an appointment with you, and you can sit down. It's not a one-size-fits-all kind of a deal. He'll consult with you and come up with a strategy to get you going to where you want to be. Once again, 925-628-9966, securemoney.com on the web. And thanks to Tony Cassera and the good people at Cassera's Italian Menswear. They are housing the Krueg Show t-shirts, and they're a proud sponsor of the show as well. The Krueg Show t-shirt, the Krueg Show podcast t-shirt is available there at their store in Dublin. Their address is 7372 San Ramon Road in Dublin, California. And go see Tony Cassera and get yourself a Krueg Show t-shirt and support the show. And special thanks to our sponsor, New York Style Italian Sausage. That's right, NewYorkStyleSausage.com is their website. Phenomenal product, whether it's the breakfast sausage, the Italian mild, the Italian spicy, the chorizo. You cannot go wrong with New York Style Italian Sausage. Once again, NewYorkStyleSausage.com. Often imitated, never equaled.
We grew up with a Sunday dinner. That means no matter how busy you were, no matter where the hell you were, you came to dinner on a Sunday night. Yeah, Sunday dinner without sausage, it's like a church without God. You know, how can you go to church if you don't believe in God? You know, and along with the sausage also became the discussions. That was discussion night. You know, it wasn't a typical family that you sit there and you're quiet, you know, and you don't talk with a mouthful. Oh no, man. Italians talk when they're eating. Italians even talk when they're sleeping. And definitely we talk with our hands. So if we can't express it through our mouth, through our lips, we express it with our hands. So, and that's what sausage is, really. It's an expression, you know, that life is good.
So New York Style Sausage was started over 7 years ago. We are the largest producer of fresh Italian sausage on the West Coast.
What makes our sausage in New York style is really the recipe came from back east, from New York, you know, from Connecticut.
If you look at all of our labels, there's maximum 4 or 5 ingredients, which we're really proud of.
There's no preservatives, no MSG, fresh in, fresh out.
The pork comes in fresh, goes out fresh. There's never any freezing throughout the process. We've always used fine quality cuts. We're never gonna deter from that. It's one of the reasons why our sausage is so good. I guarantee you put our sausage up against anybody else's from a flavor standpoint, no one will beat it, hands down.
And do yourself a favor and do me a favor. Go buy a package of the New York style Italian sausage. Guaranteed you will love it. Guaranteed.
All right, welcome back to the Krueg Show. Final moments here before we call it a night. We are 2 hours and 3 minutes into our live stream, and it is 12:54 in the morning. And I said to Danny. I'm like, let's just go to midnight tonight. But then I just got so wrapped up in crapping all over this horrendous product that, and I apologize, not because for anything I said about the Giants, Farhan, Gabe, or the ownership, because I meant every word of that. I apologize that we didn't have a lot of laughs tonight, because the one thing I do like to do on this show with you and Rye is laugh. We do laugh a lot. We have a lot of fun. And tonight wasn't a lot of laughs. So I apologize for that, because I do like to laugh, especially on a Friday night. Maybe if Rye were here, I would have gotten away from this a little bit more. But I just am I'm so put off by the fact that these three entities, the manager, the general manager, and the ownership group, collectively let us all down. And it sickens me when I hear, they're asking season ticket holders to make a commitment for 2023 when they never made a commitment on 2022. Yeah. And that really is the long and the short of it. They want the season ticket holders in a tough economic time to commit their hard-earned dollars to 2023, and they never committed to 2022. Yeah. And so I feel like the Giants have some apologizing to do, and they've got some make goods to make up with their fans. And until they do, and I'm not buying season tickets anyway, but I would encourage all of you to not renew. Right. And not renew in number. And then guess what? You take your money away. Suddenly you're not a jackass. Suddenly there is a new GM. Suddenly there's a new manager. Suddenly the ownership group is acting. Why? Because it's a 5-alarm fire in their backyard. And if you give them your money, then it's almost like you're voting. You know what? Stay with Farhan. Stay with Gabe. Stay with your cheap ass ways in the ownership group. If you take your money away, then they realize that's how you're speaking to them. Sadly, Absolutely. It is the only language they speak. So you can write a letter. It ain't doing no good. You can send an email. You might as well not. But if you speak with your money and you withhold your cash.
Yeah, maybe if you send an email to them and tell them you're a season ticket holder and you're not renewing because of the way you've been, they put the product on the field and you're tired of watching minor league baseball, maybe that might go somewhere if you tell them you're not renewing your tickets. But I was going to post this in the chat, but you're limited to the number of characters, so I'm just going to read this. This is what I just got done reading Farhan's bio once again, and I wanted to see what he's done. And I really believe that the Peter principle.
Never a good sign, not to interrupt you, but it's never a good sign when you're reading the bio of your general manager 4 years in, looking for what the hell's going on here.
Yeah. So I really believe the Peter principle applies to Farhan. And if those of you who don't know what the Peter principle is, it states that if you perform well in your job, you will likely be promoted to the next level of your organization's hierarchy. You will continue to rise up the ladder until you reach the point where you can no longer perform well. I think Farhan is a great analyst. He's great at putting all the statistics together, and that's what he started with the Oakland A's. He moved up to assistant GM with the A's, and then he moved up to the head of baseball operations. Then he went to the Dodgers as GM, pseudo GM. Andrew Friedman was making all the calls, but he comes to San Francisco and he's placed in charge as the number one guy of all of baseball. And he's at a place where he can't perform well because he's over his head. He doesn't know how to run a full roster. He's playing with the man 35 through 40. How about 1 through 10? Let's get those guys. Forget, you're maneuvering guys 35, 40. They come and they go. They're on the roster for a week and they're gone. We had a little bet about what was that guy's name? Just a couple weeks ago, we were making a joke about his jersey. He kind of had a racer name or something. What was that guy's name? Gosh, I can't even remember. He's gone though. But
Ford Proctor?
No, it wasn't Ford Proctor. It was something kind of had a flashy name.
Sky Bolt?
No, it wasn't that. I'll figure it out. I'll look it up right here. But he's
Jackass.
He lasted a week because we were making fun about his jersey. If we ordered the jersey, you said, would it be here in time before he's DFA'd? And I said he'd be DFA'd, and he was Steel Walker.
Steel Walker.
Yeah.
Texas
Walker.
Ranger.
Yeah. So Steel Walker, I mean, that's the guys that just shuffle in and out. I mean, you can count on it. I mean,
his name should have been Steel Money.
Yeah. If you get picked up on the Giants Walker. And you're on the back of the 40-man roster, you might not even want to come to the ball, report to Sacramento. You might want to give it a few days rest, see if you're already gone. I mean, this is what Farhan spends his time on. Come on, let's get guys that are really good players. Let's go get Trey Turner. Let's go get Andrew Benattini. Let's get Josh Bell. Let's get the second baseman, Adam Frazier. Let's go get Brandon Drury, Brandon Nimmo, guys that can play center field. And, I said Benattini. Maybe, give it 100% shot for Aaron Judge. I don't think you'll get him, but, go get these type of players, and you can turn this thing around fairly quickly, because if you get 5 or 6 true major league players instead of getting guys off the scrap heap that have been DFA'd, maybe you might compete, and maybe you'll get season tickets to holders to show up.
Dusty Gold, we'll finish with this one. Larry, you ain't lazy. Tonight, you ain't lazy. Larry, let me tell you, Larry, you're lazy. You're freaking lazy. You ain't like Dan and me. You're lazy. Dusty Gold. Hey, Larry, you ain't lazy tonight.
This guy, the Giants are now 62 wins. He says final record 62 and 100. I actually think the Giants are going to be about 75 and 87, 74 and 88. I think that's where they finish. Probably 74 and 88. They got the Dodgers, the Padres coming up.
Kyle McKiernan says, Larry's never lazy. He wouldn't be here right now. Yeah, sir. If I was lazy, I'd already be folded into the couch. All right. Hey, that does it. Danny, I love you, brother. I'm taking the family to the beach tomorrow. It's going to be so freaking hot. It's going to be super. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't say that. We were going to go tomorrow, but it's only going to be like 95 in Walnut Creek tomorrow. We're going to do it on Sunday, because Sunday is supposedly going to be like 105.
Ooh, nice. You going to go to Santa Cruz, or?
So we're either thinking maybe Half Moon Bay or Santa Cruz or Stinson. I'm not sure. We're going to take the family to the beach. I
love Pismo. It's a little further, but Pismo's
I love Pismo. Are you kidding me?
Pismo. Yeah.
Oh my God. Pismo's wonderful.
Yeah.
See, my kid goes to Cal Poly.
Yeah.
And there's something about Central California that is really nice.
I was going to move to Pismo at one point because
it's awesome.
I love the.
It's foggy though. It's very foggy.
Yeah.
It's on the coast, but it's beautiful.
On the coast, but
it's a little warmer inland. A little cooler on the coast.
Yeah.
That's 6 figures. Thank you. I'm the weatherman.
Wow. Whoa.
All right, Danny. So we won't do, I'm not sure about tomorrow, but we'll definitely do something this weekend, either tomorrow or Sunday. We'll have to see. We'll see how the schedule goes.
Figure out which day you're going to
Rye's going to be back from Santa Fe, I think, tomorrow. We'll be doing a lot of Niner stuff coming up next week.
Giants play at 1, and then
what's Sunday? Both at 1?
I think Sunday's at 1 as well. Yeah. Let me see. Just to double check. I don't think they moved the Sunday game to late. 1 o'clock. Then they go into LA for 3. They'll get swept there probably. Then they go to Milwaukee for 2. They'll probably get swept there. And they may lose the next. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Anonymous says went to a baseball tournament in Pismo every year. Dolphin Inn. Dusty Gold says Sam's Chowder House.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
I might hit Sam's Chowder House. SG Sports Channel says Sam's Chowder House.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with Sam's Chowder House. Yeah. Mike Vaz says Avila Beach. That's right next to Pismo, right by Cal Poly. That's a great little spot too. I don't know if we're going to go that far down. That's pretty far.
Yeah.
But I would say that. Horrible Season Ticket Salesman says foggy beaches are the best. Half Moon Bay brings back some great memories. You know what was a great beach memory that I have as a kid? It was going up to Pahara. Is it Pahara Dunes? Have you ever been there?
Yeah.
And it's really foggy. but man, it's really nice. I'll tell you, one time my in-laws rented a tri-level on the beach it was either Watsonville, Capitola, Santa Cruz. It was down there, right in that area, right? It was a tri-level right on the sand. The bottom floor, you walked out onto the sand, and we stayed on that top level. And, I was falling asleep at night with with the windows open, the screens, on so the bugs don't fly in. But I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the waves crash. I mean, because we're right on the sand.
Yeah.
And you can hear, oh my God, that is so relaxing. And to me, that's my dream situation is, someday buy a place that's just like right on the beach where you can just hear the waves crash at night and just get that salt air and just, it'd be incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. Dusty says no nude beaches, Larry. No, there'll be no nude beaches. Come on.
I could tell you a story. Oh my goodness. I was like in Santa Cruz as a kid, right? And I'm my friend and I were in 7th, maybe 8th grade. We go down to Santa Cruz with my parents, and we're sitting there on the beach, and this we're like 13, 14 years old, and we're walking along the beach, and we see this chick just topless, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, you're just like, this is great. So we go up. I go, let's go up to our hotel.
This is great.
Let's go up to our hotel, and we'll get my dad's binocs on her, and we'll just. And so we go up, and we're up there, and we're just like honing in on her, and
peeping toms.
And I'm just watching her, and I'm just like, oh, this is unbelievable. And I made the comment. I said,
I know that person. No,
I made we finally got up there. It took us a while. And then, so we're looking out the window. I got the binocs on her, and I said, oh my goodness, look at those tits. And my parents just walked into the door behind me, and I was like, oh my goodness. I was like, I turned around, and I'm like, hello.
On that note, have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for. Here for whatever you bring me, getting handled. I answer to no one, I don't need to hassle. Yeah, we ain't never fall back.